Picture this. You're at the grocery store, the total comes up, and for the first time in your life, you don't mentally calculate if you can afford it, you just pay. No anxiety, no quick math, no putting items back. That moment, it doesn't happen when you become a millionaire. It happens way, way sooner than you think. And I'm about to tell you the exact number that changes everything. Most people will never experience this feeling, not because they can't, but because nobody ever told them the truth about how money actually works. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because what you're about to learn could literally change the trajectory of your entire financial life. And I promise you, it's not what you expect. $20,000. That's it. That's the number that separates those who will build real wealth from those who will struggle forever. I know it sounds crazy. You're probably thinking, 20,000? That's nothing. People make that in a few months. But here's what nobody understands. It's not about having 20,000, it's about what happens to your brain when you save it. Let me paint you a picture of two different lives. Person A makes $70,000 a year, but lives paycheck to paycheck. Every unexpected expense is a crisis. Every opportunity that requires money, they have to pass. They're constantly stressed, constantly calculating, constantly saying no to things they want. Person B also makes $70,000 a year, but they've saved $20,000. Same income, completely different life. They negotiate better salaries because they're not desperate. They take calculated risks that pay off. They sleep at night without that knot in their stomach. The difference isn't luck. It's not intelligence. It's that invisible line at $20,000 that changes absolutely everything. And before you click away thinking this is just another save your money lecture, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't about depriving yourself or living like a monk. This is about a mathematical and psychological phenomenon that kicks in at exactly this threshold. Here's what's actually happening. When you have no savings, your brain is literally operating in survival mode. Scientists have studied this. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that makes long-term decisions, it basically shuts down when you're financially stressed. You can't think about next year when you're worried about next week. It's not a character flaw, it's biology. But something magical happens at 20,000. Your brain shifts from survival mode. Instead of asking, how do I make it to Friday, you start asking, how do I make this money multiply? Instead of taking any job that pays the bills, you wait for the right opportunity. Instead of accepting whatever life throws at you, you start designing the life you actually want. If this is resonating with you, hit that like button right now, because I'm about to share something that took me years to figure out, and it's going to save you so much time and pain. You know what's crazy? Getting to 20,000 is the hardest thing you'll ever do financially. Let's say you're saving $1,000 a month. Getting to that first 20,000 takes about 19 months of grinding, sacrificing, saying no to things you want. It's brutal. Most people quit around month 6. But here's where math becomes magic. Your second 20,000, it only takes 17 months. Same effort from you, but now that first 20 grand is working alongside you, generating returns. Your third 20,000, even faster. By the time you hit 400,000, you're generating 20,000 every 5 months just from investment returns. The same amount that nearly killed you to save initially is now happening automatically. This is why rich people seem to get richer without trying. It's not a conspiracy. It's not unfair advantages. It's compound interest doing its thing. Once you understand this, you realize that every dollar you spend before hitting 20,000 is insanely expensive. That $4,000 vacation when you have 2,000 saved, you're not just spending 4,000, you're delaying the moment when money starts working for you. Let me share something personal. 5 years ago, I was checking my bank balance every morning with dread. That sick feeling when you see a number lower than you hoped, I lived with that every single day. Then I discovered this $20,000 principle and became obsessed. I cut everything I could. I worked extra hours. I said no to everything that wasn't essential. And you know what happened? At around 15,000 saved, something shifted. I wasn't even at 20 debt, but I could feel it coming. I stopped panic checking my balance. I started thinking about investments instead of expenses. By the time I hit 20,000, I was a completely different person. Not because the money changed me, but because the process of getting there rewired my entire brain. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Seriously, pause right now and send it to that friend who's always stressed about money. They'll thank you later. Here's the part that nobody talks about. Having 20,000 saved makes you weirdly calm about spending money on things that matter. When you're broke, you agonize over every $3 coffee. Should I buy it? Can I afford it? Is it worth it? That mental energy is exhausting. But when you have 20,000 in the bank, that coffee decision takes zero mental energy. You know you're good. You've already won the big game, so the small stuff doesn't matter. This is what wealthy people understand that broke people don't. It's not about the lattes. It's never been about the lattes. It's about the big decisions: where you live, what you drive, how much you save, where you invest. Get those right, and you can buy all the coffee you want. But here's where people mess up catastrophically. They hit 20,000 and think, finally, time to reward myself. They buy a new car. They take an expensive vacation. They use it as a house down payment they can't really afford. And just like that, they're back to zero, back to survival mode, back to stress and scarcity. That 20,000, it's not a reward. It's not spending money. It's the foundation of your empire. It's the seed that grows into generational wealth if you're patient enough to let it compound. Touch it before you hit 100,000, and you're essentially robbing your future self of millions. I'm not exaggerating. Do the math yourself. Let's talk about something that might hurt to hear. The average person spends more on their car over their lifetime than they'd need to retire wealthy. Between payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, most people drop $700 a month on transportation. Over 40 years, that's over $400,000. Meanwhile, they say they can't afford to invest. Think about this insanity. You're spending $500,000 to get from point A to point B while complaining you'll never be rich. It's like eating McDonald's every day while saying you can't afford a gym membership. The money is there. It's just going to the wrong places. You still with me? Good, because this next part is going to change how you see everything. Subscribe to this channel if you want more reality checks like this, because I'm just getting started. When you have 20,000 saved, something interesting happens at work. You become a different person. Not arrogant, but confident. Not reckless, but bold. You ask for the raise because you're not terrified of getting fired. You speak up in meetings because you're not desperately clinging to your job. You take on challenging projects because you can afford to fail. And here's the beautiful irony: the less desperate you are for your job, the better you perform at it. The less you need the money, the more money you make. It's like the universe rewards people who aren't desperately chasing. But really, it's just confidence creating competence, which creates compensation. I know someone who saved $25,000, then used that confidence to negotiate a $20,000 raise. They never touched the savings. They just needed to know it was there. That's the power of what I call walking away money. You probably won't walk away, but knowing you could changes everything. Let me tell you about opportunity cost, the most expensive thing you've never heard of. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you only see costs, not opportunities. Your friend starts a business and needs a small investor? You can't participate. Amazing career conference in another city? Can't afford it. Incredible deal on a rental property? You have to watch someone else grab it. But with 20,000 saved, suddenly you're playing offense instead of defense. You can invest in that business, attend that conference, make that down payment. Each opportunity you can actually take advantage of compounds into more opportunities. Money doesn't just make money, money makes options, and options make money. This is getting intense, isn't it? Take a breath, process what you're learning, and if this is hitting home, show me by hitting that like button. Your engagement literally helps more people discover this life-changing information. Here's something bizarre that happens around 20,000. You stop wanting stupid stuff. When you're broke, you fantasize about everything you can't have. The fancy car, the designer clothes, the expensive gadgets. But once you have money and could actually buy those things, most of them lose their appeal. Why? Because now you see the real cost. That $50,000 car isn't just $50,000. It's $50,000 that could turn into $300,000 over 20 years if invested. Suddenly, driving a reliable Honda feels like the smartest thing in the world. You're not depriving yourself, you're choosing wealth over the appearance of wealth. This mental shift is everything. Poor people buy things to look rich. Rich people skip things to stay rich. Once you internalize this, every financial decision becomes clear. Do I want this thing, or do I want the freedom that comes from not buying this thing? Let's get really practical for a minute. How do you actually save $20,000? First, you need to know exactly where your money is going. Not roughly, exactly. Every coffee, every subscription, every impulse Amazon purchase. Track it all for 1 month. You'll be shocked at where it's leaking out. Next, identify your big 3 expenses, almost always housing, transportation, and food. These 3 categories are where the real money is. Optimize these and you'll save thousands without feeling deprived. Live with roommates for 1 extra year. Drive that reliable older car. Cook more meals at home. Boring? Maybe. Life-changing? Absolutely. Then automate everything. Set up automatic transfers to savings the day you get paid. If you don't see it, you won't spend it. Make saving the default, not the exception. This one change will do more for your wealth than any investment strategy. But here's the crucial part most people miss. You need to increase your income while cutting expenses. Saving 20% of $40,000 is harder than saving 20% of $60,000. Ask for that raise. Start that side hustle. Invest in skills that pay. Don't just shrink your lifestyle, expand your earning potential. We're getting close to the end, and I've saved the best part for last. Stay with me. Remember when I said 20,000 changes your brain? Here's what I mean. You develop what I call wealth vision. You start seeing money differently, not as something to spend, but as soldiers in your army. Every dollar can either work for you or against you. There's no neutral. That $100 you're about to spend on dinner, that's not just $100. That's a soldier who could have recruited more soldiers through compound interest. In 20 years, that soldier could have built you a battalion worth $700. Still want that dinner? Maybe, but now you're making an informed choice, not an impulsive one. This isn't about never enjoying life. It's about being intentional. When you understand the true cost of things, you naturally spend on what truly matters to you and skip what doesn't. You'll probably find that most of what you thought you wanted was just society telling you what to want. The $20,000 milestone isn't just about money. It's about becoming someone who can build wealth. It's about proving to yourself that you control money, not the other way around. It's about breaking free from the paycheck-to-paycheck prison that traps 90% of people. Here's my challenge to you. Calculate how long it would take you to save $20,000 at your current rate. If the answer is forever or impossible, then you need to radically rethink your financial life. Because every month you delay is a month your money isn't working for you. And trust me, you want your money working for you as soon as humanly possible. Look, I could keep talking about this for hours, but here's what you need to remember. $20,000 is not just a number. It's a complete transformation of your relationship with money. It's the difference between being controlled by money and controlling it. It's the line between surviving and thriving. You've stayed with me this entire time, which tells me you're serious about changing your financial life. So do me a favor, share this video with one person who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I'm gonna keep dropping truth bombs about money that nobody else will tell you. And leave a comment below. What's your biggest obstacle to saving $20,000? Let's solve it together. One last thing. 10 years from now, you'll either have $20,000 saved and be building real wealth, or you'll still be making excuses about why you can't save. The choice you make today determines which person you become. Your future self is watching you right now, hoping you make the right choice. The clock is ticking. Your wealth is waiting. And that $20,000 milestone, it's closer than you think. You just have to want it badly enough to make it happen. Remember, it's not about the money. It's about who you become in the process of earning it. And that person, they're capable of absolutely anything.